welcome to our Pragmatic Point program for the month of February. I'm delighted to have you all show up, and we're definitely going to have an insightful session with Dr. Deborah Agyepong. So I'm going to read out her bio, and we're going to hand over to her to take it from here. So Dorothy Pokua Agyepong is a senior lecturer in the Department of Linguistics, University of Ghana. She holds a PhD from the University of Cape Town, South Africa. Her research interests include the semantics and pragmatics of African languages, syntax, gesture studies, and the social linguistics of urban youth contact languages. Her current research projects focus on the semantics and pragmatics of separation events, as well as the effects of age and culture on co-speech gestures in Asante Tui oral narratives. Her work has been published in reputable journals, including the Journal of West African Languages, Studies in African Linguistics, Discourse and Society, Social Linguistic Studies, Gesture, and the Contemporary Journal of African Studies. Her recent book chapters have appeared in edited volumes published by Routledge, Urban Contact, Dialect and Language Change, Insights from the Global North and South, and Multilingual Matters, From Southern Theory to Decolonizing Social Linguistics, Voices, Questions, and Alternatives. She is a fellow of the American Council of Learned Societies African Humanities Program and the Building Early Career Humanities Scholars in Africa program. Please let's make welcome by paying our undivided attention to Dr. Dorothy as she takes us through this all-insightful topic on craftsmanship and grant writing. So, Dr. Dorothy, you have our attention now.
Thank you very much, Professor Oji. I am really excited to have the opportunity to share this very important aspect of our life as academics with you. Could I please ask if you make me a co-host so that I can share my slides?
Okay, I cannot see how to give you the share rights from here. Is the share button not activated from your end? Hello, Doctor? Hello? Can you hear me? Sorry, can anyone else hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. What's her network?
Yes, we can hear you, ma.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the confirmation. I suppose when she comes back, she'll have to try again. And okay, Prof says she can share her screen. So I don't know why she can't because I see the share button as being active on my own screen. Okay, she's trying to rejoin. Let's give her a moment to do so.
Hi, can you hear me?
Okay, yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, I was asking if you could make me co-host so I share my slides.
Do you see the share button at all on your screen? Could you confirm that, please?
Yeah, I'm checking that right now. Yeah, I
Okay,
have the
just
share
at the
button.
base. Okay, click on it and let's see if it lets you share.
Yeah, I'm checking that right now.
All right, that's fine.
It doesn't, when I click on it, it doesn't allow me to share.
Okay, do you mind sending me the slides for you from here? Because ordinarily, I
Okay,
think
let me
everyone on the
see.
call is supposed to be able to share.
Okay, I think I'm getting the link now. Is now coming through.
Oh, okay, great. That's fine. We can see that you've started sharing your screen, but we cannot see the entire screen yet.
I'm gonna put it in PowerPoint mode. I'm putting it in the full screen.
Yeah, please do that. Let's see. Did you select the particular file? Okay, good. Good. So if you could
It's
yes,
selected.
please. Yes, please select the presentation mode. Or you could
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. The
okay.
challenge is my internet keeps fluctuating, so it's just a bit
Let me
low.
turn off my video and see if that helps.
Yeah.
Okay, but you could start talking. I
So
think
I'll switch
you
off
might be
my
able to
video.
see
Yes.
this. Yes, you could start talking
Yeah.
or see your slides already. Thank you. Good. This is beautiful.
Good. Okay, sure. Thank you. And can I be heard properly?
Yes. Very well. Right
Okay.
about now we can hear you, although it's fluctuating a bit, but please
Yes,
go ahead.
my internet keeps fluctuating, so I'm a bit okay. So
You can start, yeah.
yeah, I'm trying to lower this so I can see the full screen. Okay, perfect. So thank you very much. Ruth, please, at a point in time, just in case you can't hear me, please draw my attention to it. Okay.
Sure, I'll do that.
If I fall off, please. Okay. So thank you very much for the conversation. Today I'm just going to talk about grants and grantsmanship in applied linguistics, but generally the talk will fit any scenario research that we are conducting. So it's not necessarily just for people who are doing applied linguistics. Any kind of linguistic research doing, these will be relevant. And in terms of grants and grantsmanship, it's a very, very important part of our lives as academics. And you cannot be a successful academic if you are not able to secure some sort of grant for your research. So it's actually very, very core to our work as academics. So this is the roadmap I'll follow. For us to be able to appreciate this topic much better, we need to at least know what the two key terms we are trying to talk about mean. So we need to know what research grants are, and what at all the word grantsmanship means. What does it mean? And then we would also want to know why grants are particularly important in research, with, of course, a focus on and then one of the things that you do when it comes to grants is that you look at proposal. So what are the key components of a strong proposal? Because strong proposals are the ones that get funded. And then we would also want to see what the possible reasons that a proposal would fail. There are many times that sometimes when we put in some of these applications, we get only feedback, but we are not told by these reviewers what caused applications to be rejected. So I've tried to find some of these reasons and then just to share with us so that whilst we are putting together our proposals for these grants, we pay attention to some of these things. And then we would finally look at some practical strategies for putting together a strong proposal, one that can attract grants for us. So what is a grant? What is a grant? A grant is money. So it is money financial sources that avoid conduct a specific defined time frame. So looking at this definition, there are some keywords that sort of shed light on what exactly the grant is. So first of all, it's a financial support for you to conduct a specific research. So when you are writing your proposal is targeted to a specific research area. And apart from that, you also conduct those specific research within a defined time frame. So grants one that is running for maybe 6 months, you can get some for 1 year, some for 5 years, 2 years, and so on and so forth. So it is expected that within this this period, you'll get financial support from whoever it is that is supporting you. But then also you are working on a specific research, and then you are also paying attention to the time frame. So you cannot go and take a grant from, let's say, a program and then bring it to conduct medical pragmatics research that is not within the application that you have put in. So when you apply for the grant and you get it, the grant is for a specific research project. And one of the things that we need to know about grants is that they are highly competitive, highly competitive. So if your proposal is selected out, it means that it was very good. But then it also means that for you to be considered, you need to make sure that you are, putting in the right thing, because you are going to be selected from a number of people who have equally put in some strong applications. Grants peer review. So when you send in your grant application, there are going to be people who peer review your grant application. These people could be, it could also be, a mixture, some from your discipline and then others from artists to comment on there. And then grants are usually outcome oriented. So there is always an outcome that is attached to a grant. So you go for a grant to conduct research on, let's say, language choices amongst Gen Zs in university. This is what the money has been given to you to do. You conduct the research. What is the output of this research that you are doing? The output is that, well, you are going to come out with, let's say, a publication. You are going to come up with some policy guidelines. You're going to come up with some recommendations. It has to have some outcome. And then, most importantly, grants are time bound. So you cannot have a grant that is perpetual. So you have specific time to finish the project that you have proposed. So who awards grants? A number of people award grants. So you can have government agencies that award grants for research. You can have private foundations. So for example, formerly Bill and Gates Foundation they give grants. So now the Gates Foundation gives grants for malaria research and so forth. And you also have universities giving grants. So for instance, in my university, there are a number of grants that come from either early career researchers, students, scholars, and so on and so forth. And organizations also do give grants. So you can have someone from the UN giving you grants, or you
Hi, Dorothy. We're losing you for a bit here. I'll send her a message now.
And to conduct.
Okay.
I was building my house and I got to know the grant is not for a roofing. You come, yeah, hello.
Oops. She's out. Okay, please let's hold on for her. She's really struggling with the internet.
Hello, Ruth.
Yes, yes. Welcome back.
We actually, okay, so this is what is happening. I actually do not have lights. I know it sounds weird, but I don't have light. So I'm just managing a certain source of internet and lights. And so that's why I'm experiencing this challenge. But I hope it's better now.
Okay.
Is it better now?
Yes, it sounds quite fluent, so we could go ahead with it and see.
I'll just put my video, if you don't mind. I'll put up my video.
Yes, please. It's okay. That should help.
I think. Yes. Since I'm on limited. So I'm going back to share.
All right, that's good.
Okay, so is my screen on now?
It's fine. We can see it.
Perfect. So
Yeah.
apologies once again. So I was saying that government agencies, private foundations, universities, international organizations are the ones that award. Grants are not donations. So that is one thing that we have to bear in mind. When we take the money, we are supposed to be accountable. We are supposed to give outcomes. So why is grants a big deal in research? Why is grants a big deal? Why do we need grants in the linguistics research or the applied linguistics research that we are doing? Why do we need grants? Why can't we do it without grants? The kind of research that we do as applied linguists requires us to do field work. So we do not really do armchair research. We need to go on the field, collect data, interact with the community, come back and do transcription, further coding, and so on and so forth. So we have our research involved field work, there's community engagement, there's data collection, there is travel. So you would have to travel from one town to another town, some travel between countries. And then you need to also get the services of consultants, service language expert. You transcribe, you translate, you'd code, you would need research assistants to help you. All of these things require money that your salary cannot take care of. So you need to be able to get some kind of support to be able to do this, because what you do as an applied linguist is very, very detailed. You need a lot of money to be able to run these things. Additionally, apart from having, helping you to collect your data and do that research, if you are attached to an institution like a university, when you get your grants, and of course you did it through your university, it enhances institutional reputation. So if your university has a number of grants from World Bank, Gates Foundation, UNICEF, UNESCO, and so on and so forth, it enhances your university's reputation, gives it more visibility. And then through grants, we are also able to support postgraduate training. So in my institution, a number of grants have come through that have supported students who are the postgraduate level to do their PhD. Some are fully funded PhD programs. And then what grants also do is that it enables cross-national collaboration. And so I can have a grant in University of Ghana, and because I'm trying to look at, for example, the use of pidgin English in Ghana and Nigeria, I can partner with Ruth, and then through that partnership, we are able to have this cross-national collaboration. So we can look at what happens in Nigeria compared to what happens to Ghana. We can even add Cameroon and so on and so forth. And additionally, grants boost research productivity. If you have money to conduct research, you are able to do more research. You don't have to do one, come and sit down and think of how I'm going to get money to do the other one. So people who have a lot of grants tend to be more productive in terms of conducting research. One important thing that we need to notice that in many contexts, research productivity is closely linked to external funding. Okay. So if you for example, if you go and apply for a position in a university, one of the things that they are looking for is, yes, are you a good researcher? Yes, you are. How many grants have you got? How much is your grant? And we want to calculate to see how much money you have brought into the university. And so getting grants is very, very important. Key funding sources, there are context-specific funding sources. So funding sources may vary by region. So maybe the kind of funding sources that we would have in Ghana may be different from South Africa. They may be different from Nigeria. They may be different from the UK or the US. But mainly you have the funding sources being national research councils. You can have the ministries of education, international development agencies, universities, NGOs, and then, as I said earlier, private foundations. So that is what grants is. Now, what is grantsmanship? What is grantsmanship? So grantsmanship is the art and skill of securing funding, and I have purposely highlighted the art and skill because that is what grantsmanship mainly is. You need to have the art. It is an art, basically, and then you need to have skills. So many times you would hear that, or they'll say, oh, this man is very, very good with grants. He wins a lot of grants. It is a skill that has been learned over the years. So grantsmanship is an art and skill of securing funding. It's like somebody who is into business. How well the person is able to market the stuff, how well the person is able to convince you that, look, you need to buy this thing. Even if the thing is not good, the way they'll present it will get you attracted to it. So that's what grantsmanship is about. And you need to have the skill to be able to write good proposal that will win award. So this skill includes, first of all, being able to identify the right funding opportunity. There are lots of funding opportunities out there, but which opportunities will be good for a research in pragmatics, a research in phonology, which grant? So you need to be able to identify the right funding opportunity. What is a pragmatist going to do with a research that is interested in looking at diarrhea or anything in the country? That is geared for the sciences, unless, of course, as part of the grant that they are writing, they may want to do a language aspect. For example, when people have diarrhea, how do they express it when they go to the hospital? Then you are bringing in the medical aspects of linguistics, right? But until such a thing is fused into that research, you don't have that part. So research funding is sort of geared towards specific areas. And then you have to make sure that you are identifying the right funding that would suit your area. And you need to be able to design a fund research. The research that you should design should be one that can be funded. So you have no point designing a research that says that I'm going to look at, let's say, the use of pidgin English in the whole of Ghana, the whole of the 16 regions in Ghana. That is not it can't fund it. They'll say it's too big, it's too huge, and it's not even feasible. So you need to be able to design a fundable research, and you need to write persuasively. You need to write persuasively. So you need to be able to convince the people that what I'm putting in is good. When you put your money into this, it is going to get this. You need to persuade them. And then you need to align your work with the funder priorities. So many a times when we see the grants, the calls for the grants, we are overly excited. We don't even pay attention to the priorities of the funding agency. So, for example, if you want to apply for a Gates Foundation grant, you need to be able to go to their website, see what it is, and you would know that Gates Foundation are sort of very particular about research in malaria. They're particular about focusing on these kind of diseases and all of that. So you get to know the priorities of the funders so that you just don't write and then just waste your time. And you need to be able to manage award funds responsibly. Because when the funds are given to you, if you are not careful, you may end up just spending it if you don't manage it properly. So you make sure that you are managing the funds, because you also be accounting for it. And then the time will come when you are supposed to run the account and you are running around looking for what to do. So in terms of types of grants, we have research grants. So those grants that are given for you to conduct specific research. There are also capacity building grants. These are grants that are targeted at building the capacity of scholars. So recently, for like 2 years, University of Ghana had this grant from the Gates Foundation, and that grant was targeted as training scholars in gender integration. So for 2 years, we were undergoing this capacity building with the hope of eventually becoming gender integration consultants who consult for the Gates Foundation. So that is an example of a capacity building grant. There are also the collaborative and consortium grants where we can have institutions. So for instance, you can have a consortium grant between Ibadan and UG and UCT and Stellenbosch and all of these places. And then there are also postdoctoral and doctoral fellowship, which I know a number of us here have on. So characteristics of fundable research, What kind of research can be, will qualify to be, funded when you put in the application? Your research, your proposal should be theoretically grounded. Very, very important. Should be theoretically grounded. It shouldn't just be anything that you're putting together. How does your research fit in terms of discussions that have been going on? And then it should be methodologically rigorous. Your methodology should be on point. We should be able to sit down and know that, look, the person really knows what he or she is going to do. The person is not confused. When I put my money in the project, this is what is going to happen, because this is how the person is going to do it. And then it should be socially relevant. And this is the reason why many a times some of our proposals and some of the topics that we present do not get funded. So for example, I think when I started putting in some applications for grants, I struggled a bit because I would go in and I'm looking at verbs and what the person will do and what they mean and so on and so forth, without putting any relevance in terms of the society. What is it going to do? You look for verbs, and then what does it do for the society? So You need to be able to make sure that whatever it is that you are doing, you are tying it to the benefits in terms of societal development and so on. If you don't see the relevance, if you go and you say you are looking for morphemes and phonemes and all of that, they don't get interested in it. So many times, the proposal that you are written is very, very good, but because it doesn't make any linkage to the society, it's turned down. And then it should be innovative. You shouldn't just be repeating things that people have done. It should be innovative. It should shake somebody. It should tell somebody that, oh, this is interesting. Let me put my money here. And then it should be feasible. Because remember that the funding is time bound. So you have a grant that is running for 2 years, and you are proposing to do something that is covering all 16 regions of Ghana. How are you going to do that? Look at how big Nigeria is, how big SA is, how big the US is. You propose research that is going to cover the whole of the country. It's not feasible. They won't mind you. And then, as I mentioned earlier, it should be aligned with the founder's priority. So the funder's priority should be made evident in your proposal, okay? They will not fund something that will not benefit them as a funding agency. Please note that reviewers look at clarity and coherence, not complexity. So yes, your proposal should be well written. It should be clear. It should be coherent. It's not about the big jargons. Even most of the times they advise that try and make the jargons less, because when you put in a lot of jargons, it becomes complex. And then sometimes the people who are reading, the reviewers, are not from your discipline. So if you keep on using jargons that are just known by people within your discipline, then it's going to be very difficult. You need to be able to write it in such a way that anybody picks up your proposal, and right from the onset, they get to have an idea of what you want to do and not struggle to understand. So what is the anatomy of a grant proposal? It basically follows what we do for our research proposal. It has a title, it has an abstract, it has a problem statement, it has a literature review, it has research questions, it has the methodology, it has expected outcomes, and it has budget and justification. That's a very, very important part, the budget and justification. It has timelines, and then it has the institutional capacity. You need to be able to state. For some of the funders, they want you to state what are the things that are existing in your school or your institution. When I bring my money can help. Do you have a good research office? Do you have a good research officer? Do you have a provost who is in charge of academic who can monitor the funding? Do you have a secretariat? Do you have this? Do you have that? They always want to know these. And each section must work together to tell a coherent research story. Writing a strong problem. Remember that you are going to make a case for somebody to give you money to do your research, meaning that you have to have a strong case. How do you make your case strong? Your problem statement must be strong. Your problem statement must identify a clear research gap. We need to pick up the research and see that, okay, Kofi is trying to do this. And then your research needs to demonstrate urgency. I'm giving you money. Why do you think I need to give you money to do this? How urgent is this? Why don't I give my money to another group, right? You need to tell them this is urgent. I need to do this. So if you apply to, for example, ELDP, the Language Endangerment Fund, you need to be able to show them that it's urgent. And they are very big on that. ELDP is very big on how urgent your problem is. So they are interested in endangered language. How endangered is the language? If you come up and say that, well, there are 500 speakers of the language, they will tell you it is not endangered. If somebody comes with a proposal that shows that in a village, only 10 people are speaking the language, and these 10 people are above the age of 70, no child is speaking the language, then they know that it is urgent. So they will weigh the level of urgency and say, you know what, let's give the money to the one that has just 10 speakers, because very soon they will die. 500 speakers, we will not consider that. So you need to make an urgent case. And then you need to show the societal or policy relevance. How relevant is it for the society? How is it going to feed into policy development? And then you need to, of course, align to the funder's mission. I can't stress this enough. The notes that I have here is that you need to avoid vague generalizations such as language is important in society. Like they'll say, and so what? It is so vague. Instead, specify the precise issue that you are interested in addressing. Go straight to the point. For the literature review in grant proposal, unlike what we do for our journal articles and our thesis, grant proposal literature review should be focused, strategic, and gap-oriented. It needs to go straight to the point. It needs to be strategic because remember that you are trying to convince somebody to give you money. And it needs to show that there is a gap. If there is no gap, there is no point of you doing the research. One thing you have to put at the back of your mind is that you are not demonstrating how much you know about pragmatics or social linguistics, but you are rather demonstrating why you think your proposal or your project is important and needs the person's money. In terms of your methodologies, reviewers, what they look out for, here are some of the things, and this is not a comprehensive list because as the reviewing process goes on, there are things that come up that the reviewers look for. But for starters, reviewers look out for a clear research design. The reviewers need to be able to picture how your research is going to be done. And then there should be justified sampling. You need to justify whatever it is that you are going to collect the data. And then your data should be ethically sound. That's why for most of them, you need to attach an ethical clearance. If you are going to collect a medical kind of research, like looking at research, language use in the hospitals and all, you need to have an ethical an ethical document that would guide the way you conduct the research there. And then we need to see your data analysis strategy. How are you going to analyze the data? And then is the project feasible? Can you conduct it within that period? How are you going to engage the community? How are you going to protect the people you are going to work with? Reviewers look out for these. Note, if the methodology is weak, your proposal will fail, regardless of how interesting the topic is. That is, budgeting is a very, very important part of the proposal. Your budget must reflect your methodology. You are saying that you are going to visit two towns in the country, and you have presented a budget that is almost like you are visiting 16 regions in Ghana. It's not feasible. They won't mind you. So some of the costs that will go into your budget include your research assistant, the people who are going to be working with you. So your research assistant, they need to feature in there. The consultants, those who are going to work with you when you get to the field, your field travel, your recording equipment. Are you going to buy recorders? What kind of equipment? You just don't say, I'll buy a recorder. What kind of equipment? Add invoices. Let them see how much it's going to cost. And then your data transcription and translation or coding. Who is going to transcribe? How many hours is the person going to use? How many days? And so on. You need to add that. Do you need a special software? Do you need to get somebody who knows how to use that software to do it? And then workshops. Along the line, are you going to be conducting these workshops? For a grant that I got, I had the opportunity to conduct a workshop, and it was one of the outcomes of the grants to conduct a workshop that brought together people from different parts of the country. So are you going to do that? Let that feature. You don't present a budget and then later on you see that, oh, I think I need to do a workshop. You would have already presented the budget. They would have given you the money. If you come back and say you are doing a workshop, that was not part of your budget. So you need to properly think of what is going to go into your project and make sure that you cost everything. Not that every budget line must be justified. Everything you are putting on there, you need to justify. You just don't put it there and go away. They will need justification. An inflated or vague budget raises red flags. So you are going to 2 towns, $1,000 as your cost. That is going to raise red flags. Alignment with the founder priorities. So I mentioned that when you are applying, it needs to align with the funder priorities. This is very critical. So before you get into writing, please make sure that you have studied the call carefully to know what it is that the funders are looking for. You need to identify keywords. So, for instance, if you are writing a Gates Foundation proposal for them to fund a gender-specific research, they have a whole glossary of expressions that they use when it comes to gender issues. So they have a way they have defined gender. They have a way they have defined access. They have a way they have defined a community. So you need to get that document, review it so that you are using things the way they want you to use it. Okay. Use the funders' language strategically. Use the funders' language strategically. Note that a brilliant proposal that does not fit the call will not be funded. Fit is as important as quality. So, what are some of the common reasons why our proposals may fail? Common weaknesses include poor alignment with the funder. We are not aligning it with the funder's priority. Our scope is unrealistic. We have weak methodology. And then our proposal is not clearly written. And then our objectives, because we want to impress, we tend to be very overambitious when it comes to setting up objectives. We need to be realistic, set realistic objectives. And then your budgeting should be well justified. So if your budget is poorly justified, you will not be considered. So what then would qualify for a successful grantmanship? A successful grantmanship preparation. Make time for the grant, to write the grant. Many a times we see the grant, the call will come in January with a deadline of April. We don't start any preparation. Much ending, and we start running around looking for things. Start early, take your time, write it, develop it. I know a senior scholar who, even when she is writing an application, she goes outside town, goes to book like a hotel, and she's there for 3 days, 4 days, just focusing on crafting a proposal. Make time. And then form strong collaborations. Form strong collaborations. If it is a consortium kind of thing, make sure the people that you are using have the background, they have the requisite knowledge. You need mentorship. Please, let's make use of our senior scholars who have written grants over and over again. When we write it, let's send it to them to read for feedback. Don't write your grant, hide in your corner, write your grant, and just push it out. Internal peer review, send it amongst your friends, your colleagues, let them read and give you feedback. Even send it to somebody who is not within your field. Send it to somebody in sociology, somebody in the sciences, and find out if the person will make sense of what you are writing. If you do all of these things, you will realize that you have multiple drafts because each person has reviewed and you have revised it over and over again. And then make sure that you have your institutional support, because some of the grants that you get, you need to provide institutional support. So seek your institutional support and have that. To build a research profile, remember that your grants will lead into that. So you want to make sure that your grants, as you get grants, you become visible as a scholar. You need to build competitiveness. Make sure that you publish consistently. As you get the grants, publish. Present your funding research networks like what we have right now. Engage policy actors. And then you develop a niche of expertise. You have a group of people who are experts, because funders invest in researchers who demonstrate credibility. So you have gotten one grant, you have been visible, you published, you presented, reported, and so on and so forth. In terms of ethics and accountability, note that grantmanship continues even after funding. You must ensure that you have conducted your research ethically, and then you have reported transparently. You have responsibly managed the finances, and you have gone back to give to the society that you conducted the research in, because a well-managed grant strengthens your future for funding chances. If you collected some grants and there were no output, you cannot be confident about applying for another grant. Finding your first grant, internal university seed grants, okay? So you can get your first grant, start from the university. Look for small places, seed grants that you can get. Small foundations or pilot projects can give you some grants. As a doctoral student, you can apply for some grants. Postdoctoral fellowships can also be a good way to start. You can apply for travel and conference grants. I've said all of these things beautifully, but there's the reality. We find ourselves in Global South. The reality is that in many Global South contexts, researchers face limited local funding. Our government hardly fund projects. That's a struggle. And then we also have infrastructure constraints. We do not have some of the infrastructure that we may need if we want to go in for huge grants. And then our teaching load, so much teaching load. It's so heavy. You are teaching all the time that you don't even have the time to write a good proposal. However, there are also opportunities. You can put in development-focused funding applications, linguistic diversity research. You can look at South-South collaborations rather than focusing on the North collaborations. Amongst ourselves as Africanists, let's go for collaborations. And then we can approach it from a decolonial, equity-oriented research approach. So we can look at research that focuses on decoloniality, equity-oriented, these research grants. As you get your grants, please make sure that you are impacting. Impact through academic publications. You can have policy briefs, curriculum materials. You can engage the community in workshop, capacity building, so that through this, you'll be able to demonstrate that you have impacted the community in which you work in, because demonstrating impact strengthens future proposals. So to summarize, some of the key takeaways that I think we can have is that grantmanship is strategic. Grantmanship is learnable. Pay attention to how your grant application fits. So fit matters. Clarity is critical. Methodology determines credibility. Strong proposals tell a coherent story. Note that grant writing is not luck. It is a learned skill. So I just want us to think about some of these things as we go away. First of all, what barriers do researchers face in your context? Remember, I said, let's think of us here on the African continent. What are some of the barriers that we face as researchers? How can our institutions better support grantmanship? And then what types of applied linguistics research do we think are most fundable in terms of our local community? So on that note, I want to say thank you very much for the opportunity. And I hope that we can all learn a thing or two from here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dorothy, for your presentation. It's really insightful, and we appreciate your taking out the time to come speak to us about this matter. And thank you for acknowledging all of the challenges that we have to put up with, even as we try to write grants. Thank you. I'd like to open the floor now in case someone would like to ask a question or seek clarification or just make a comment or share an observation. Yes, Ogunwale Mary Temitope. Okay, you're giving us a thumbs up, but it's like you're speaking, so we can hear you faintly. All right. Are you speaking to us? Otherwise, maybe you want to mute your device if you're not speaking to us. Thank you. I think I saw your hand, Dr. Dubamo. Okay, does anyone have a question to ask? Have you made an attempt at writing a proposal for grant funding, and how is it going with you? Do you have any collaborations currently going on? Do you want to seek some support of any kind? Or are we just fine? So we put our hands together and say thank you, Dr. Agyepong, for coming. Okay, thank you. I see Ofebe Awuku. Please, you can unmute and speak to the house.
Hello, good evening. Thank you, Dr. Agyepong, for your presentation. I'm a little curious and I want to ask what you think about this. So, with all that you said, okay, I didn't hear a part where you mentioned that the researcher can actually keep some part of the money for himself, herself, for the stress of going through the research. Is there a way that you can put that on the budget that, as you are paying the research assistants, a part of it will also come to the researcher for even conceptualizing the research idea and, going to see it through to the finish end? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ophelia. I was just smiling at your question. This is always something.
Hello. Okay. Looks like
when they come in, you are not paying yourself for.
Sorry.
This is.
Sorry, Doc.
I'm taking it.
We lost you for a bit. Perhaps you want to take that response again.
Hi, I can hear you.
Yes, please take the response again because we lost you for some time.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
Okay, sure. So I'm saying that it all has to do with budget.
Okay, we lost her again. Okay, let's hope she joins. Okay, she's here again.
Hi.
Okay, yes, we're here.
To do with the budgeting. So you need to account for the time. It shouldn't be like, okay, because I'm the researcher, you are paying me. No. For some of the funds, when they come in, so for one that I worked on, I could not pay myself as a researcher. What I can do is to pay myself if I go to the field. So my field work is covered. If you had to travel, the funding takes care of your ticket, it takes care of your accommodation, it takes care of your hours that you spend there. So you are not getting a salary per se, or you are not getting money because you are working, but it is taking care of some of the things that you are doing. So if you are as a researcher, you are the one going to do the transcription, you are the one going to do the coding, you are the one going to do the translation, then you are paying for those things. So in your budget line, that is what is going to come to you. And then you put your name there, that this is the researcher is going to do this and this and that. And then in those instances, some of the funders don't like to see your name there as it's coming to you. So it is a very, very it's always like, and that's the challenge that we've always had with some of these projects. Like the money doesn't come to you, but it comes to the things that you do. So for instance, if you are going to do capacity building for people, or you think that to be able to do the research, you need to build your capacity, and so something needs to be paid for you to build your capacity, it will pay for that capacity building. But it won't be money that will come because, oh, I did the project and this is the profit. You will not make a profit. That basically it. You don't make a profit. You hardly make profits from these grants. It's actually taking care of what it is that you are doing. So it all boils down to how you are costing your things. It boils down to that. Ophelia, have I answered your question?
Yes, you have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And that was quite insightful as well, because I mean, the question is valid. How do we get taken care of, even as we try to solve a societal problem? So, but I also love the way you've put it together. We just have to de-emphasize ourselves, but pay attention to all of the things, all of the tasks that ought to be done,
That
and
you're doing.
in the budget,
Um,
put it down, show what's going to go for what. And if we do it very carefully, chances are we'd have enough to take care of ourselves while the focus isn't on enriching
because another
everyone's.
thing is that
Yes, go ahead.
pockets, yes, because you are going to remember you have to be accountable. So if you took, for example, if you took a small grant from Melon, one of the University of Ghana Melon grants, you need to retire your money. So in retiring, you are going with your receipts. You are going with all of those things. So if you spent money on yourself without, it being on your budget or you not being able to account for it, then that will be trouble. So that's when people start going around looking for receipts and falsifying documents, and because you need to retire, and they are also going to report to the main funders that this money went into this. So it becomes a bit, because basically the money is for your research. That's all. It is money for your because the assumption is that you are with an institution that is paying you money. You are paid. Okay, so this money is for your project. So everything that you are spending on should be for the project. Unfortunately. Yeah, but in order.
Thank you. That's just the reality. And I think it's important for us to have the right mindset. That could be very much helpful in leading us on. So we know what our expectations are, and then we could do the right thing. Moreover, when we get one, it gives us room to get another one. And if we've handled it well, the first one we get, then chances are we'll get many more. So we don't want to kill the chances of getting more. Okay, please, House, do we have any other questions or words of appreciation for this session? What else would you like to share before we call it a day?
I just want us to say that we should all try. Let's all try. Remember, I said that you can start small. You can apply for a small travel grant. You will be competing with other people, but you can also stand a chance of getting. Apply for a grant to collect data. Apply for a grant to complete thesis. Apply for your PhD grant and so on and so. So you start small. You just don't get up and then say, I'm going to apply for a big melon foundation grant when you haven't shown that, oh, I managed $10,000 this way. So let's start small, nothing too big. Let's start from within our institution, the opportunities that are in our institution. Let's take advantage of those. And then later on, build on. And let's make good use of our mentors. Please, let's not hide in corners because we think that they'll know that, oh, we are into this project. No, let's work with our mentors. Let them guide us every step of the way. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I see a hand. Tayo Adesoji Ayodele, let's hear you, please. And if there are any other comments after this, let's put them in the chat box so we can round off at 6:15. Thank you.
I want to say good evening, Prof, and good evening, our guests. I really want to appreciate our guests for this insight. Thank you for opening up our hearts to things like this. And I want to thank the organizers for giving us this at this time. Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Welcome. You're welcome, sir.
Oh, that's a good one. Thank you too. And we would like to be in touch with you, Dr. Agyepong. Okay, Agyepong, sorry. Okay, possibly I say it again and again and again, and then I'll get it. All right. So maybe I just stick to Dorothy.
Yes, that's fine. Dorothy is fine.
Okay. So please let's allow us to be in touch with you, and if there are grant opportunities that you know, if you could be kind enough to share with us in the Pragmatic Points group, we would appreciate it. So we can already get motivated to start trying. Some of us haven't worked on any grants at all before. So it's good that you've shared that we should look inward, start with the smaller ones. But some of us would also like to explore bigger ones or maybe something outside of the organization for all the benefits attached to having done something like that. So please do feel free to share opportunities with us, and we'll share in the Pragmatic Point group for our members to start working on it. I'm also interested. I'm sure almost everyone here would be interested.
Yeah, most
Thank
definitely.
you. Okay, good.
Thank you.
Are there any other last comments before we go? I noticed a few persons joined when we're almost done. I see Professor Patricia Beatrice. Welcome, Prof. Okay. I don't know if she's in a good place to speak, but I'd like to say a
Thank
very big
you.
thank you to you. Oh, okay.
I
Thank you
am
for
just
joining us.
from another meeting. I'm happy to hear your voice, and I hope to be able to join at the correct time next time. Thank
Okay.
you very much.
Oh,
Thank you,
we look forward
Dr.
to,
Dorothy.
yeah.
Dr. Ruth, thank
Yeah,
you.
we look forward to having you around another time. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. All right. I guess that will be it. If there are no other comments, I was checking the chat box to see if anyone dropped a message. Okay, so since there is none, who might want to call it a day. Any final words again from you, Dorothy?
I just wish all of us a successful grant application. I wish
Okay.
we get our grants.
Thank you. And thanks for taking out your time to prepare and to come make this presentation today. We don't take it for granted. We do appreciate your insights. And we hope that when we call on you in the future, you'd honor our invitation.
Thank you for the opportunity. I'm grateful.
All right. So that's how we come to the end of this month's Pragmatic Points lecture series. And we'll hope to come your way again next month. We'd already shared the flyers in the group. So let's publicize it and let's come together to learn. As we always emphasize, Pragmatic Point is just a study group, just the way we come together. Somebody talks about something, the rest of us can contribute, and that's it. We just advance knowledge. It's not an association. We're just here to build one another up and help us make some progression in our career. So thank you all for coming. The host isn't here to end the meeting, but we might all take our leave anytime from now. So please have a good evening, everyone, and bye-bye.